I was CEO of a public company, and you have certain agendas, certain expectations, maximizing shareholder wealth, revenue, earnings, so on and so forth. And driving costs down is also one of those things that helps you get your profits up. And we've seen a trend in 50 years where a lot of the decisions by major corporations have been, gee, I can make my sweatshirts more cheaply in Thailand than I can in Tennessee, and so therefore we're moving everything to Thailand, and the people who used to make sweatshirts in Tennessee are kind of left looking around for what else there is to do in Tennessee. How would you, and this gets into thorny areas for those of us who believe in free trade. How would you go at that problem? What would you say? Assuming
Well,
you
so
weren't Donald Trump and you just tell them, no, you can't leave.
right. I think it's a great example to work from. And I think
Yeah.
the crucial thing to recognize when you talk about that example is you're actually talking about two different things happening. One thing is you're talking about the disruptive effect, that we used to make sweatshirts for our economy one way, and now we're talking about making them another way. And there are lots of things that cause disruption in the economy, right? You could also say we brought robots into the factory and then we needed fewer or different workers who could make the sweatshirts more cheaply. That kind of disruption can be a very good thing for the economy. What's gone wrong and what we have to worry about is when you go make those sweatshirts in Thailand and there's nothing else that we make here instead. In other words, when you think about trade in the abstract, the word trade means a trade, right? If Thailand is going to send us the sweatshirts, in theory, we should be sending them something in return. And if we do, then the effect on the labor market can be a very good one, because you've just brought in this new supply of Thai workers who can produce for our economy. But you've also brought in a new set of customers somewhere else in the world who want to buy what our workers can do. And so what's gone wrong with trade, I don't think, is the fact that these disruptions occur. Disruption, creative destruction is key to rising productivity and rising prosperity. What's gone wrong is we pursued a model where we said, that's great, move the factory to Thailand where it's cheaper, and we don't care if there's something else that we now get to make instead. And in fact, a lot of the formal economic arguments, if you just care about consumer welfare, you actually celebrate if we don't have to make anything else instead. Right? You say, isn't this terrific? China or Thailand is sending us all this stuff, and we don't even have to send them anything in return. What a great deal. And that's what a trade deficit is, in a sense. And from a consumer perspective, a trade deficit can be a great thing. But if you actually care about labor market health and the trajectory of our economy and the opportunities for our workers, then you actually have to worry about trade deficits and say that trade has to actually be trade. There actually has to be something that we're making in return for the things that other people are making.
Well, I ran into this, I didn't personally run into it, but the county I live in Virginia, Rappahannock, we had an actual blue jeans factory there. And the year after NAFTA came in, the blue jean factory was shut down, and I guess we lost 70, 80 jobs. And so the question that I ask now as maybe a reformed pure free trader is that, gee, is the country better off because we can buy sweatshirts, for 40 cents cheaper at Walmart, or would have been better off if those 80 people still had their jobs in Rappahannock? And when I've raised that with my libertarian friends, they basically take my head off, and they say, you're not seeing this right. You're taking the benefits for just these few 80 people, and you're making everybody else pay for their jobs, and that's inefficient. And that's a bad thing. Thoughts?
In part it is, and that's why I emphasize this balance question, that if we just try to preserve specific jobs and say we don't want, we want to avoid layoffs, let's say.
Yeah.
You can do that, but I think your libertarian friends are right that the costs economy-wide, especially over the long run, are going to be much, much larger than what you're gaining. And so I think we have to recognize that over the entire course of American history, those kinds of disruptions have occurred. Things have been made in different ways. I mean, you could ask the exact same question about bringing more technology into that blue jeans factory, so that now they only need 40 people to do the work they used to use 80. You could ban the technology, You could go all the way to the Chairman Mao model of saying, well, if we make them sew the blue jeans by hand, they'll have to hire 80 more people. And that's not a recipe for prosperity. We need the productivity growth. We want to be making things in efficient ways, but we need to be attendant at the macro level to the labor market conditions. We need to trust that as this disruption is happening, as people are being laid off, they're being laid off into an economy where there are going to be other opportunities for them, not into an economy where there are no other opportunities for them besides a disability check.